What's up everybody, this is Jesse, the Laotian Emotion, and this is my 1984 Nissan 300Z. I bought this car in Palm Bay in December of 2017, and I paid $850 for it. It looks a bit rough, but I do have a full interior, new dash, and hopefully over the course of the year, I'll be making a lot of new upgrades and restorations to this car, so hopefully it'll be driving again. Something I really enjoy about this car is that it's a Z car from the 80s, which means it has these removable T-tops. I really enjoyed this car. I picked it up out of Palm Bay, Florida, and it's been a blast to drive so far. It's got a V6 engine in the front and a limited slip differential in the rear, gated to a 5-speed transmission. This car has been a lot of fun to drive so far, and it's actually really not that fast. This car sounds really great when it's running. Unfortunately right now it's not really running the best, as you can see by the hood. The story of the hood is when I first bought this car, I stored it at a buddy's house for a while. I didn't want my parents to know. And after a while, they kind of caught on and we brought it home. My father took this car out and forgot to latch the hood down. And unfortunately, we have kind of a big problem here. And the hood flew backwards and smashed up against the glass, so we do have some cracks in the glass down over here, unfortunately. But a new hood and a new windshield are in the works. Unfortunately, because this car is from the 80s, it does have the worst problem a classic car can have. Lots and lots of rust. This car was originally imported to Florida. Thankfully, I was lucky enough to get some of the original things that came with the car, like the service manual. But things just happen to cars when they get older, and unfortunately a lot of this lower facade is all rotted away. But I did buy a welder, and hopefully I'll be able to make lots and lots of new repairs to this car to make it roadworthy again. This car kind of sits here for now, and I'll be working on this alongside the 3000 GT to both get them up and going. When I first bought the car, I made some small repairs before I had a YouTube channel, and that involved removing most of the interior. Now we have a full back area, we have 2 leather seats in the front, a whole digital dash and climate control system, even air conditioning, and I've been removing most of those systems just to get to the bare frame of the car so I can properly restore it. You can tell this is a car from the 80s because the digital dash didn't have 1, 2, 3, but 6 modules just to control different things in the digital dash system. I love the way the 80s Zs look. The 240, 262, 80s, and 300Zs are personally my favorite out of the Z lineup. Taking a quick look under the hood reveals to be, I believe, is the VG30 V6 engine that Nissan used popularly in the 80s and 90s. This engine is honestly a pain. A lot of things in this engine are vacuum controlled, and the electronics are not the best. Now, this car did have a weird problem before, where it would start just fine when it's cold, but if you ran it for any length of time and shut it off, you'd have to wait about 5-6 minutes for it to start. Thankfully, when I bought this car, it was a complete running and driving car. Nothing was missing from it when I bought it, and I drove it home. This Z was fairly advanced even for its day. It had a V6 engine pushing about 200 horsepower to the rear wheels through a limited slip differential, and had an all-digital dash and climate control system. The only tier up from this Z was the Turbo Z, but mostly all of those came in automatics. This Z has a problem with the power steering pump, especially at low speeds. This pump just tends to grind and grind and grind, so hopefully I'll be able to pick up a rebuild kit for something like this. I plan on taking the engine and drivetrain out of this car to be able to work on the car as a frame outside separately. Now, I've painted a car before, and it's this 1983 Chevrolet El Camino, and I painted it in my garage. It is not the best paint job, but I feel like it'd be comparable to what I'd want. Unfortunately, this car may or may not have some frame damage. If you look under the car, these rails right here have a bit of damage to them. Also, the jacking points have a fair bit of damage on them. So hopefully I'll be able to make proper repairs on those and be able to lift the car safely without it having to break. So we have lots of bubbling paint and rust down here, so all this area will have to get cut out and re-welded in with new metal. This Z certainly is a big project and a big undertaking, but I do feel I have the mechanical know-how and desire to do it correctly and fix it to its former glory again. What I want to get done today is empty out the back and put all the parts inside, and hopefully let's see if we can take off the carpet today and have a real good look at the condition of the body. So now that the car is pretty much empty, I've taken out most, if not all, the interior pieces. I'm going to be hopefully removing the carpet after I give the car a good vacuum.
Every kiss, every hug, let me stay in your arms. Let me stay in your arms. Every kiss, every hug.
now that the interior of the Z is pretty much all clean, I'll try to be removing the carpets now. There seems to be a clip way in the back up near the firewall. Down from the steering wheel, down near the pedals, there's this black clip that seems to be just in the way. So if I squeeze it, here it is, there's a black clip just in the way. So if I just squeeze it, it should come right out and the carpet can get folded back. There's another clip down over there. And now we can hopefully pull the carpet out from underneath the gas pedal. There we go. Feel. With any luck, it should come straight out. Yes! And there we go. We just removed the carpet. Unfortunately, there's something I really didn't wish I saw. There was a hole. Another hole right in between the floor fans, so I'm gonna have to replace this whole chunk of metal right here and replace it with a new piece of steel. Oh well. So the next thing to take out in order to remove the carpet is right around the transmission tunnel. There's a piece of Velcro that keeps the two halves together. Just peel it off, and now they're separated. So I'm just gonna peel this back slowly. Slowly. Remove my tools. Slowly peel. Alright, we're looking good. Let's go back to the other side now. So now we're going to look on the other side and hopefully get the rest of the carpet out. There's two more of those clips like we saw in the before. After those are removed, we can hopefully pull the whole carpet out. We've run into a bit of a snag in the passenger side carpet. We have these two bolts holding in this entire module thing. I have no idea what this does, but I'm just going to remove it and put it back carefully so I can continue taking out the carpet. I'm going to need to use a socket. Like most things on Japanese cars, both of these bolts are a 10mm. That's one. That's two. Now this whole module should move, and it does right off the carpet. I have no idea what this module even does, so I'm just going to be real careful in moving it up and around the carpet so then I can get what I need. And it looks like I can disconnect the modules and I can just tuck it through the carpet. Like most modules on this car, I have no idea what it does. All it took was removing this one cable and this entire module just came right out. So now we have the problem of improperly fixing a repair. We have these two cables that are just spliced in here. I believe they're for the radio, for the antenna, and now they just spliced their way through the carpet. So I don't know how we want to remove these things without utterly destroying the carpet. Now, granted, I am going to replace the carpet, but I'd still like to be able to service this part if I need to. I'm gonna have to do something I don't want just so I can repair it properly in the future. I just can't do it. I can't do it. But I have to. Until another day, Miss Fair Lady Z. Now with that out of the way, we can continue taking these cables, shoving them back through the hole in the carpet, and pulling up the rest. And just like that, almost the entire interior is taken out. But we do have some sort of difficulty with this stud nut thing that, of course, welded itself right to the car. Let's see if we can get more of this carpet out. Oof. Well, that was pretty intense. And there's more of these weird rivet things that keep appearing. Let's see, is there anything around the shifter to make it easier to get out? I don't think so. I think we're just going to have to lift up and out. We have one stud left, two left, here and here. Let's just try and pull gently, and it's up. Let's try to pull gently on the other side, right down there, and we are up and out. The carpet is now ready to get pulled out of the car. The only thing left is the shift boot. The last step is to hopefully lift this colossal thing off and over the shift boot. It's gonna take a few people, maybe, or just a couple minutes. Let's try one last good go. And there we go. It's free. We're free. The carpet is out of the Z. So taking a quick look at the rear carpets out of the car, you know, it's not that bad. You know, there's obviously signs of wear and tear. This car is 34 years old, but they held their shape fairly well, and the color's not too far from factory. The real problem comes from what's under the carpet. We have lots of insects. We have a lot of rust and a lot of holes. And these are all things I'm gonna have to re-weld in. Might need to do floor pans. Might need to just beat up some new floor pans and make new, but that's what happens with these old project cars. Sometimes bad things happen. We got a lot done this episode on the 300Z. We got the whole carpets out. We got pretty much the entire interior gutted out and stored away. We looked at the old carpets. They're in pretty good shape, but unfortunately with a lot of these old cars, you have insects, a lot of rust, and a lot of rust. So I'm gonna have to order a lot of sheet metal for this thing, but hey, that's what happens with these old project cars. It just happens sometimes. But thanks for joining me. I'm having a lot of fun working on the 300 with you guys. Until next time.